Hello everybody, Michael the Librarian of Magic here, finding and cataloging the magical and pointing you to it. I'm back once again with another What's New on Disney Plus video, this time highlighting all of the new content on the Disney Plus service for Friday, March the 6th, 2020. I've got my notebook here with all of my notes, and I'm ready to jump straight into all of the new stuff that was added this week on Disney Plus. New on the service is Doctor Dolittle 2, the movie that came out some time ago featuring Eddie Murphy. The original animated Ice Age from the late 90s, early 2000s, I guess maybe 2000 that came out, is on there now. If you haven't seen that, or if you're a fan of the Ice Age series, that's there. Black Panther, the Marvel movie that came out a couple years ago, is now officially on the service in the Marvel section. The film Bedtime Stories, starring Adam Sandler, is on there now, and I remember that one being pretty good. I remember watching that when it came out, and remember it being kind of charming. And then also the film The Finest Hours, starring Chris Pine, I want to say. It's based on a true story about a Coast Guard rescue during a winter storm. So it's kind of a rescue thriller based on a true story, The Finest Hours. So those things are all on the series now. The Disney Plus originals, I will start detailing those. This is where in each one of my videos there are spoilers. If you're concerned about those sorts of things or want to watch the shows for yourself without knowing the details, now would be the time to um, you know, check out or stop watching or whatever. But these are the originals that happened this week. The second episode of the show Shop Class, the reality competition show, this week was called Hole in One, and the teams, there are three new teams, were tasked with building a miniature golf hole, which was kind of a cool task, a cool shop class task for these kids and shop teachers to check out. They did have to use a motorized component. It was sort of a spinning motor that they had to incorporate in some way into their design. The Gold team designed a space-themed or rocket ship blast-off themed hole. They used the motor as a set piece more than a functional piece in which they mounted a moon, and then the moon twirled around. And then the rest of the hole was sort of pretty cool. It had, you could go one way, and it had obstacles like stars and clouds that were mimicking the transition of blasting off from Earth into space. And then the color scheme of the hole changed from green into black. Or you could go up this ramp that mimicked blast off into a wormhole, in which point, if you got your ball into this wormhole at the top of this super steep ramp, you could get a hole in one because the wormhole would take you right to the hole. So that was kind of cool. The green team did sort of a castle, kind of a traditional castle theme. They made a big castle in the middle of their thing, the middle of their whole scheme, and like a big sword, and like a sword in the stone, like set decoration. But they used their motor to create a twirling cup in the last segment of their hole. They had the cup would twirl around in this circular pattern. So that was kind of a cool feature. And they also built a loop-de-loop right near the T. So they built some kind of creative elements into theirs as well. And then finally, the blue team built theirs as a airplane theme. So they used their motor to create an airplane propeller that was an obstacle to get the ball through. And then there were also clouds and mountains that they made, really well painted, actually. They did a good artistic job that you had to bank off of those to get yourself towards the hole. In the end, when they judged these, they brought out LPGA champion golfer Michelle Wie to test out the holes, which was kind of fun to watch her take a crack at these creations. And she did really well with the gold team. She was actually able to get to the hole in one, and the judges enjoyed their theme. The green team, things went well, except the rotating cup was not finished off so well. It kind of it wasn't seamless. And then the blue team did really well, but they weren't able to execute their total vision. They kind of ran out of time on some aspects, and also the propeller, getting the ball through the airplane propeller was not really that easy at all. They kind of made it a little too difficult. So because of those things, the judges ultimately chose the gold team to go on to the next round of this episode, the team that built the rocket ship theme. So it was a pretty fun episode. This was a cool challenge for shop class kids to work on. So it was a fun episode of Shop Class. There was a new segment of Pixar in Real Life for the month of March, and this one was based on the film Brave. And they had a person, an actor as Merida, go to an archery range somewhere in Long Island or in New York or something like that. And she shows up in full costume with her bow and everything. And it's kind of funny because the person running the archery range is like, well, you can't shoot with that bow. And normally we don't have people in costume here and stuff. And people are kind of looking at her weird, like not taking her seriously. But then she borrows somebody else's bow, and whatever actor they found to put in this situation is like a ridiculously good archer. So she's able to just hit all these targets, and everybody's amazed by her, and it's kind of cool. And she has some funny interactions with all these people. She's, playing up the Merida angle. So that was a really cool episode of Pixar in Real Life. I find that to be a fun little short form series. It's a neat little 5-minute diversion whenever it comes out each month. On Diary of a Future President this week, the episode was called Matters of Diplomacy, and there were basically three, of the kids and their mom, the three different storylines that have been going throughout this series. A lot of conflict in this one. Gabby is still struggling with trying to get over feelings that of weirdness with her relationship with Sam, because she's feeling strange and guilty about her dead husband Robert. And in this episode, she is trying to get over that, and she agrees to have Sam over for dinner to meet her mom, because her mom has been wanting to meet Sam. Well, when she invites mom over, mom kind of oversteps her bounds and invites the whole family, because all of these people have been wanting to meet Sam. And so like aunts and uncles and cousins and all these people come over for a dinner party. And it's just too much for Gabby to deal with. And towards the end of the episode, she excuses herself, and she has a conversation with Sam, and he's like, hey, you've been weird, what's going on? And she finally admits to him that like this is going really fast, and she's not sure if how deep she wants this relationship to be right now, because of everything that getting readjusted and figuring out life as a widow. And Sam is patient and kind with her, but also admits or requests that he's really been giving more in this relationship than he has. He's all in. He has considered whether or not he wants to dive in and be part of her kids' lives and her life, and he said that he did, and he's really been putting himself into this relationship, and she has been holding back because she's been struggling to figure it all out and get adjusted. And so the episode kind of ends with him being like, well, I guess you need time to think about what you want to be and how in you are for this relationship or not. So that's kind of where that ends. Bobby's angle is the school dance has finally arrived, and he is still obviously struggling with his feelings for Liam, and how he feels about his attraction and stuff like that. He's trying to figure all of that out, and there's various points in the episode that kind of have him thinking along those lines. He's sitting in a salon with his sister Elena, and I'll get to her storyline in a minute. But as he's sitting there, he gets confronted by not confronted, but he gets approached by a hairstylist whose appointment has canceled, and he offers to cut Bobby's hair. And then while he's in the chair, Bobby sees a picture of the stylist and his husband, and he sees that they're gay and stuff, and he's sort of getting used to processing his own sexuality. in this sort of scene, and he's playing video games with his with his buds at one point, and he brings up the thought of the dance, and they're like, well, I guess we could go, like, ironically, or we could, we're just sad that we don't have girlfriends or dates, but of course Bobby wants to go because you have a girlfriend, Monica with a Y, and Bobby suggests, no, maybe we should go and play a prank. We'll steal the DJ's flash drive, and then we'll and replace it with like whale sounds, and it'll be really funny. So they all agree to do that. They all agree to go as, bros, and to play this prank. And then when they get there, he has another little moment with Leo, and Liam notices the haircut and compliments him on it. And Bobby is feeling like he's trying to orchestrate this scenario with the prank to have Liam be lookout for Bobby while he takes the computer long enough to switch the drives out. And I think he's trying to use that as an excuse to maybe be alone with Liam for a little bit of time. But when it comes time to execute the prank, Liam is dancing with a girl, and Bobby is confused and upset by that, and he's trying to get Liam to peel off and come help with the prank, and Liam says, no, I'm cool, I'm dancing, don't, I haven't forgot, but, like, just do the prank without me, I'm gonna finish this slow dance or whatever. And Bobby's like, no, you said you'd come, and then he shoves him, and they basically have a fight with each other, and Bobby gets kicked out of the dance, and it sort of ends with him being sort of awkwardly ushered out. And that's kind of his storyline. So things aren't going the way he thought they would. He's struggling to process things. I'm sure we'll learn more about that as the season goes on. Elena's storyline is that she discovers that she's growing unwanted upper lip hair, and she's freaking out about that before the dance because she wants to impress her crush, and she tries ways of removing it herself with lemon juice extract, and it like burns the skin on her lip because she discovers she has sensitive skin. And she tries to call for Sasha to come help her before the dance, but Sasha begs off and says that she has an orthodontist appointment, but that's a lie. She's actually preparing for the dance with Jessica. And Sasha goes through this whole process where her mom discovers what's going on, and so she takes her to get her lip waxed, and that works out okay. But then when she gets home, after the redness of the waxing wears off, she ends up with this weird black line over her lip, which is a result of the skin sensitivity, I guess. And it's all weird. It's this emergency thing, of her feeling about the way she looks. She ultimately just decides to own the black line, and just go with it because she knows that it's just because her skin is sensitive, and next time she will do better with hair removal and makeup and stuff like that so as not to irritate her skin. She goes to the dance anyway and owns the way that her face looks and everything like that. But she has a confrontation with Sasha, who shows up with Jessica after all. And Sasha realizes, oh, you lied to me about the orthodontist. You were hanging out with Jessica. And Sasha confronts her and says, look, you only want me around when you need me. You call me when there's some emergency, but you're so self-absorbed you don't care about what's important to me. The poetry contest was really important to me, and you blew me off. And you, didn't show up at all when I needed you the most. But Jessie did, and so that's why I've been hanging out with her. And this is sort of, things blow up in Elena's face at the dance, and she ends up going out to the sidewalk to, blow off steam and process everything. And that's when Bobby comes out after his fight, and the episode ends with them sort of commiserating with each other about how horrible this experience at the dance has gone with them. And that's sort of where the episode ends. So conflict for all three characters in this one, and we'll see where it goes. Not a particularly funny episode because this is sort of some of these plot points have been building for a while. So, but a great episode. I've really just been enjoying this show quite a bit. It's nice. It's well acted and deals with real issues, and it's been pleasant to watch. Disney Fairy Tale Weddings this time was an episode called Pandoran Wedding. It features two couples, Patrice and Dontrell, and also Alyssa and Scott. Patrice and Dontrell become the first couple ever to be married at Pandora, the world of Avatar at Disney's Animal Kingdom. They choose that as their wedding site because they're big fans of the land there. And I myself have been there, and even though I'm not the biggest fan in the world of the film Avatar, I think it's okay, but not great. The Pandora, the world of Avatar at Disney's Animal Kingdom is quite something to see. The construction that they've done there is really amazing, and it's pretty beautiful to look at. So it does make for a really cool place to have their wedding, and it's a cool segment which shows them getting married there, and about their relationship history. They've been living long distance from each other for a little bit because they're both. Patrice is getting her doctorate at the University of Utah, and Dontrell is getting his law degree in Florida, and she's only got like a semester to go before she finishes her the classwork of her degree, and she can work on her dissertation, but she could go live in Florida at that point with Dontrell. So they're getting married towards the end of her college time, and they've been apart for a while, and it's really sweet to see them come back together and get married. The other couple, Alyssa and Scott, are getting married at the Disney's Aulani Resort in Hawaii. And Scott was born in Hawaii and grew up in Hawaii, and so he wants to incorporate those aspects, Hawaiian tradition, and his family and stuff into their ceremony. And Alyssa has a mixed heritage background. She's Japanese Mexican, and she wants to incorporate those things as well. Her great grandmothers, who she was very close with on both sides of her family, and so forth. They have a really beautiful ceremony in which they have a really nice dance, and the singer Kina Grannis comes out and sings "Can't Help Falling in Love with You," or "Can't Help Falling in Love," which is their song, their dance song, and it's really nice. And there's some ceremony that goes along with their dance that the family participates in, with throwing all these flowers and things, and it's very Hawaiian. There's a lot of Hawaiian colors and flowers and meaning in their ceremony, so it is a really beautiful ceremony. So that's what happened on Disney Fairy Tale Weddings this week. Marvel Hero Project had a very impressive person named Gitanjali. Gitanjali lives in Lone Tree, Colorado, which isn't that far from where I live, just down the road in the Denver area. And Gitanjali is a very bright young person who, when she heard about the Flint, Michigan water crisis, she was wondering about how she could help, and she basically invented a lead detection device for water. She learned about how these sensors could be used to detect impurities in the air, and she wondered if the same thing could be done in water, and she basically set out and invented this sensor, and she was successful. She was able to develop it, and she since then has done her own TED Talks and has been invited to work at the Denver Water Lab, where she furthers her research into water detection, water purification technology, and so forth. She hopes one day to go to MIT, and she has been invited to tour their campus and at one point in the show, and to talk about their talk with people who are in their labs and stuff like that, and make connections. So even at her young age, she's got a good track on what she wants to do, and she's already been incredibly helpful. She's incredibly bright. She's passionate about science and girls in STEM education, and trying to help people and solve problems and so on. And she's just very, very smart and very impressive, and it's just really cool to see her in action. And a great episode of Marvel Hero Project. The One Day at Disney shorts this week featured a person called Chris Becker, who is an animal keeper at Disney's Animal Kingdom. She basically feeds the animals and helps chronicle their status on a daily basis, to keep up with their behaviors and if things are going wrong with them, and how to notify vets and stuff like that. But it sort of follows her for a day in the life of some of the animals that she helps to take care of at Disney's Animal Kingdom. So it's kind of neat to see a little behind the scenes there. Disney Family Sundays this week was a segment making Zootopia-themed bracelets, I guess you could say. But realistically, this is another one of those ones where the theme is extremely, extremely loose. Based on a scene in Zootopia where the fox is melting down giant popsicles into smaller popsicles to sell. They make these bracelets out of popsicle sticks. They use the popsicle sticks as a starting point to create like a bracelet shape. But then after that, they just sort of put bangles on these popsicle stick bracelets. And the theme is very, very loosely connected to Zootopia. So it wasn't, they've done that one other time with the Aristocats headbands. And it's a little bit of a stretch. It's a cool craft, and the way you can soften up these bracelets with water and then mold them into a shape, and then they'll harden back up into the shape is a cool technique, and it's a very inexpensive and interesting craft to do if you want to, make yourself or your kids like charm bracelets, but it's not very thematic, and that feels to me to be the point of the show, and they just didn't succeed in this one. So that's Disney Family Sundays this time around. And that's pretty much the Disney original content for this week. There was a new episode of The Clone Wars, and I will be making a separate video for that. So if that's something you're interested in, please look on my channel for that. Thanks as always for watching these. I hope this was entertaining and informative for you. Please feel free to comment and give me a thumbs up if you like what you're seeing. And I hope you have an excellent week, and I hope that this was a nice diversion or magical thing for you to watch, and that it brightened it in some way. And until next time, I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.